I'm really thrilled to be here today, to be absolutely honest. It's a chance to answer a question that we were given, by the way. Stephen, you forgot the question. Incoming presidents of organisations are allowed to forget what they've been asked to do. It's part of the course. But the question that we were asked for this first session was, what do you love about seed? And I thought that's a really interesting question because it's so important that we recognise why we love some organisations, why we put up with a lot of organisations, why we'll have nothing to do with many other organisations, but what is special about those that we give this accolade to, not just respect and support, but love. It's a really interesting idea that one loves an organisation. Now, I love this organisation for a very particular reason, because it's one of the few organisations here in the UK any longer that keeps the whole notion of sustainability alive. You're probably not aware of this, but over the course of the last 15 years, everything to do with sustainability and sustainable development has been obliterated from the political discourse, starting, of course, with the appointment of Michael Gove as Secretary of State at the Department for Education back in 2010. Once a poisonous snake, always a poisonous snake. And from 2010 onwards, you've literally seen most of the architecture of sustainable development and sustainability disappear. And for me, this is a bit of a blow, given that my entire life has been about working within that framework, that sustainability framework. So an organisation that brazenly calls itself education. See, not quite there, is it? Sustainability and environmental education is obviously a joy to me. I wish that I could point to other organisations taking the message that SEED has promoted for the last 17 years, which is you probably won't make much progress, whatever your cause may be, unless you put sustainability at the heart of it. So the story behind this is sustainability at the heart of learning and learning at the heart of sustainability. And that is such a simple and powerful message. Why does that matter? It matters because it goes back to the origins of sustainable development in the 1980s, the Brundtland Report in 1987, the concept of sustainable development, that we should only be improving our own conditions today if we don't screw things up for people who come after us tomorrow. Slightly informal definition of sustainable development, but you get what it's all about. And remembering that at the heart of sustainable development was this notion of justice between generations. Gone as a concept. Literally disappeared. There's no politician in the UK today who will do other than mouth a banal restatement about we know that we need to do these things because we have to prosper so that when our children come after us, all the growth that we've generated will benefit all of them. We're right back to a situation which we were facing back in the 1970s and 1980s, when at least there was a semi-intelligent debate about whether we could sustain permanent exponential economic growth on this planet indefinitely into the future and still retain our sanity. And the answer to that question now is definitively clear, and it will make life for all young people in the future completely and utterly miserable. Chris and I were having a little discussion before about how much of the truth do we tell when we're out there trying to promote ideas and ways of thinking about the world, especially when young people are in the room. Should we really tell it as it is, or should we just gloss it a little bit? Well, I've come to the conclusion that one needs to tell it as it is, because without that, there can't be any honesty in the dialogue between generations. And that's why, having sworn absolutely 100% certain that after writing Hope in Hell back in 2019, I would never write another book again. That's what all authors do, isn't it? I bet you're writing another one right now. I bet you are.
He's not telling Deborah.
It might be the second volume of my joke book.
Oh, so we like that one. That was very good. But having sworn I'd never write another book, I then began to think about the impact of the climate crisis on young people, particularly on the young Just Stop Oil campaigners, who, as you will all know, were at the forefront of the campaign, the 3 years of Just Stop Oil campaign. I started to meet up with them, talk to them, became massively cross and angry about the way the media were traducing them, appallingly coming up with all of these forms of character assassination and so on and so forth. And then settled down and co-authored this book with them. So it's 26 co-authors. I don't necessarily recommend this as a efficient way of writing, but it certainly energized me to do a lot of the things that I wondered sometimes whether I would ever get around to doing, which is actually to put into practice some of the things that I've been talking about in the field of civil disobedience for a very long time. These young people are astonishing. Not every young person is going to become an activist in order to fulfill what they see as their responsibility as young citizens of the planet. That's not possible. But the very least that young people can ask of us is that we are able to create enabling conditions so that they grow up in a context where sustainability and the environment and our relationship with the natural world, in all of its astonishing glory and diversity, that context is there for them to benefit from and flourish within. Education for sustainable development. Education for sustainability. This is universal to every young person, should be universal to every young person. And some coming through that will indeed go on then to commit to radical campaigning, in whatever shape or form it'll take in the future. Trust me, there'll be a lot of that in the future. Others will internalize it, make sense of their lives through it, and be hugely empowered as a consequence of having had access to that at a point when they were developing their own ideas, values, way of looking at the world, and so on. So it's a massively powerful tool for transformation, if not revolution, which is a very long-winded way of saying why I love Seed and why I am so fantastically grateful to Anne for having taken on this challenge, for it being one of the few remaining indirect survivors of that time of sustainable development with the Sustainable Development Commission, and having made it this extraordinary, brilliant 17 years worth of real success and insight and inspiration to so many people. I was thinking to myself, I'll try and remember from your report that you sent us all how many young people's lives had been impacted by it. But then I thought, no, I'm very bad at statistics, so I won't do that. I'll just tell you it's a very large number. So thank you, Anne. It's been an amazing 17 years. Thanks.